Picture this. It's November 17th, 1896. You're standing on a Sacramento street corner. The air smells like coal and river mud. Horses clop in the distance. Telegraph wire hums softly above your head. Then, someone gasps. You look up. Over the rooftops, past the church steeples and factory stacks, a bright light drifts low and slow across the sky. It's not a meteor. It's not a balloon. It's moving too smoothly, almost deliberate. The glow is sharp, hot white, like a locomotive's headlamp, but it's suspended hundreds of feet above the ground. And behind that glow, some swear they see a shape, a long cigar-like body, with a car hanging beneath it. It even had a faint grind of machinery echoing through the cold night air. This was 1896. There were no airplanes yet. No Wright Brothers, no US Army biplanes. Nothing in the public record says powered flight even exists. But over the next 6 months, something or someone flies. From California to the Great Plains, from Nebraska to Texas, newspapers light up with reports of a mysterious phantom airship. Hundreds of towns, thousands of witnesses. Some say it landed. Some say they spoke to its pilots. And one Texas town swears it crashed. Then, silence. Nothing. The story quite literally vanishes, like it never even happened. Tonight though, we're reopening that file. We'll retrace the airship wave across America, unpacking the witnesses, the theories, the hysteria, and the graves said to hold the pilot of a craft not of this world. And by the end, you'll have to decide for yourself. Was it a secret invention? Was it mass delusion? Or was it something not human? Welcome to LoreWire, everyone. Drop a like down below, subscribe to this channel, and grab yourself a little cup of coffee or something to drink. So let's go back to where the lights first appeared. The 1890s were a world in transition. Railroads stretched from coast to coast. Telegraph lines crackled through every town, and electric light was turning night into day. Yet the sky remained an empty canvas, a frontier for dreamers. In Europe, early airships were being tested, but nothing like that existed in America yet. So when witnesses in California said they saw a flying machine over Sacramento, people didn't just disbelieve them, they were bewildered. See, this wasn't the age of casual skepticism. It was the age of invention fever. Men like Edison and Tesla were modern gods, conjuring light and sound from the invisible. The world had gone from candles to electricity in a single generation. So when people saw a glowing craft in the heavens, their first instinct wasn't aliens. It was Edison, or some other secret inventor pushing humanity beyond where it's ever been. And that context matters. Because what started as one strange sighting in the California sky would become a coast-to-coast obsession, fed by the only viral machine they had, the 19th century newspaper. Newspapers were the social media of the day, fast, ruthless, and desperate to outscoop their rivals. If one town reported an airship, papers across the state reprinted it within hours. Within a week, it would be national news. That amplification created something powerful, a feedback loop between the sky and the headlines. Once people started looking up, they started seeing things. And so began the first modern UFO wave, long before the term UFO even existed. It starts in Sacramento, November 17th. Witnesses described a bright light hovering roughly 1,000 feet up, moving slowly across the city. One of them, R.L. Lowry, claimed he heard a voice shout out from above,
"Raise elevation to avoid the church steeples."
Except there wasn't a church steeple nearby. There wasn't a church nearby at all, just a brewery tower. Lowry said the craft seemed to be powered by two men pedaling bicycles, with a passenger compartment hanging underneath and a blinding lamp at the front. It sounds absurd, until you realize that's exactly how inventors would have imagined flight. Mechanical, human-powered, and tangible. The very next morning, newspapers exploded. And the San Francisco Call had headlines like, "Claim they saw a flying airship, a wandering apparition." What was it? Within 3 days, reports had multiplied. The light returned, brighter than before, drifting from Folsom to San Francisco, Oakland, Santa Rosa, and Modesto. The San Francisco Call said the mayor's domestic staff saw it. And as it passed Cliff House, the seals near Seal Rocks panicked, throwing themselves into the ocean. Illustrators had begun sketching what people had seen. Long cigar-shaped holes with glowing searchlights and little gondolas dangling beneath. They printed them in huge spreads. And that visual, mechanical, luminous, detailed, became the template for what thousands of Americans would soon report. The story had officially caught fire, and it was about to leap across the country. By early December, the newspapers had their villain, or hero. A San Francisco lawyer named George D. Collins told reporters he was representing an anonymous inventor who built the world's first practical airship. He claimed the machine was hidden near Oroville, and the lights seen across California were simply test flights. It was a perfect headline. America had beaten the Europeans to flight, and kept it secret. But that's where the story bends from science into spectacle. Collins was soon nicknamed Airship Collins. Crowds followed him. Reporters camped outside his office. Some even accused him of orchestrating the whole thing for publicity. Under mounting ridicule, Collins recanted parts of his story and vanished from public life. Meanwhile, two titans of the press went to war. William Randolph Hearst, San Francisco Examiner, mocked the entire affair, blaming drunken hallucination. But his New York journal ran the opposite line, celebrating mankind's conquest of the skies. That editorial duel shaped the nation's tone. It told readers how to feel about what they saw, awe or embarrassment. And from that tension, the airship transformed from rumor into myth. Because once people have a picture in their heads, the next light in the sky will always fit that story. Still, a few reports would challenge even the boldest skeptics. By February 1897, the mystery had migrated east. The Omaha Bee reported sightings over Hastings, Nebraska, and within weeks the wave rolled through the Midwest, Kansas, Iowa, Illinois, and beyond. In April, Michigan became the epicenter. Alma, Benton Harbor, Niles, Kalamazoo. One farmer swore the airship passed so low it clipped a tree and dropped a metal wheel into his field. A detail that, of course, was never recovered. Figures. Descriptions evolved though. Early California witnesses saw lights. Midwesterners described machines, frames, rudders, propellers, and the hum of engines. Some said they heard voices from the sky. Others swore they saw the pilots, men in dark suits with goggles shouting down from above. And just as the newspapers had done in California, the local press poured gasoline on it. Some even tied it to the looming war with Spain, claiming the craft carried a Hotchkiss gun en route to Cuba. If you were alive in 1897, you'd be reading this every day. And in the middle of this nationwide frenzy came a few encounters that were too bizarre to dismiss, or to take seriously. On April 13, 1897, near Springfield, Missouri, a man named W.H. Hopkins claimed to have stumbled upon a grounded craft roughly 20 feet long. He said it looked metallic, tube-like, and inside were two figures. A bearded man and a nude woman gesturing toward the sky. It's like something you see in a Fallout game. When Hopkins asked where they'd come from, the man simply said, Mars. The story made headlines nationwide. People didn't know whether to laugh or to panic, and I don't blame them. Other witnesses that week described airships landing in fields, men tinkering with levers, propellers spinning, searchlights cutting through fog. These weren't distant orbs, they were machines you could almost touch. And that's the problem. If all of it was fake, who had the resources to stage synchronized illusions across half the country? Before radio, before cars, before airplanes? Skeptics argue it's simpler than that. Once the story reached critical mass, people reinterpreted normal things. Lanterns, meteors, even stars, as the airship. It became a kind of shared hallucination, a cultural script projected onto the sky. But the next chapter will take it to a level no hoax could have ever imagined, because one Texas town claimed to have found the wreckage. The Dallas Morning News prints a front-page story by reporter S.E. Hayden. He writes that 2 days earlier, an airship flying 10 or 12 miles an hour struck the windmill of Judge J.S. Proctor in Aurora, Texas. The craft exploded, scattering debris across several acres. The pilot, Hayden wrote, was not of this world. Locals allegedly buried him in the town cemetery. Some fragments of metal were said to be thrown into the well below the windmill. Decades later, a man named Brawley Oates, who owned the property, cleaned that well and later suffered severe arthritis. He was convinced the wreckage had contaminated the water, so he completely sealed it up in 1945. Whether you believe it or not, that story has never gone away. Modern outlets still rank Aurora as Texas's most famous UFO case. There's even a Texas Historical Commission marker at the cemetery acknowledging the legend. So I mean, that's something. Like this video if you want to see me go there in person. Of course, skeptics say Hayden fabricated it to draw attention to a dying town. But in a way, it didn't matter. Aurora became the final act of an airship saga, a crash, a body, and a grave. The story gave closure to something the rest of the country never got. It's as if the sky left one final relic behind, before going silent. And then, just like that, it all goes quiet. That's where it ends. Nothing after that. By May of 1897, reports dwindled. The next year, there was absolutely nothing from the newspapers. America had moved on. No inventor came forward. No wreckage turned up. The San Francisco Examiner mocked witnesses as drunks, while the New York Journal insisted the age of flight had begun. The public, caught between ridicule and awe, simply forgot. That's the strangest part. The story that dominated headlines in over 100 towns just vanished from collective memory. Not covered up by government agents, but buried under boredom. In the archives, that's often how mysteries die. Not with a bang, but with a shrug. Still, like radiation from an old explosion, the story left an afterglow. The template had been written. Alright guys, that's it for today. Hit a like down below if you enjoyed this video. And subscribe for more content like this. I drop a video every Monday, guys. Comment down below a topic that you'd like to see and maybe I'll get around to it. And also guys, I've been thinking about doing videos in person, going to places in person. There's a few places around where I live that I'd like to visit and maybe talk about the history and mysteries of. So let me know if you'd like to see that. Comment down below or like this video to show your support. And thank you so much, guys. And remember, stay curious.